Good evening, and welcome to the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission meeting of May 13th, 2024. This meeting is being recorded, broadcasted by local access programming with remote participation available as provided on our agenda. Is there anyone here tonight recording? None being seen. I hereby call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Members in attendance, roll call.
Jim Foran, aye.
Mark Munjamai.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Absent members are Mike Greco. Okay, first on the agenda. I want to move to, we'll take care of the mail. There was nothing, we'll take care of the mail in the meeting at the end, if I can get a motion.
I move that we move the mail orders in the meeting minutes to the end of the meeting.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Mark Munjamai.
Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Okay, first we'll start off with the notice of intent for 34 Hemlock Street.
It's not, well, I thought that was for the possible purchase of land. We have Matt Benoit up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt was going to handle this one.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Matthew Benoit, Director of Community Development. So what this is a notice of intent to pull property out of chapter. And what this is it's an opportunity through our new policy that the select board has circulated this to the Conservation Commission, the Planning Board, and all of our relevant boards and commissions to see if there is interest in taking the property and if there is grounds for that interest. I know you guys asked for a price last time, but that's not coming yet, and that's only for the select board to determine. All they're asking for is if the commission is interested in this property and what grounds do we have interest to support that interest.
So this is
Yeah, show the
a,
pictures. We got a few pictures that we took from the driveway. This is probably about as good as it's going to get. So go ahead, the next one. It'll go in a second. Just going to give it a minute to, yeah, there you go. So I basically took a 3-picture panoramic from the driveway. That's as far as I could get in. So there's a field up front, and then there's woods in the back. I don't know how much of that is wetlands, but that's what it looks like. So it's an active farm right now. Excuse me. I don't know if they're a for-profit farm or a gentleman farm or what, but there's animals. Your call. Why don't you bring it?
How many acres is the land?
Why don't you bring it up on the Douglas GIS there, Sam?
Oh, I think we do have a plot plan. Is that it?
Yeah, that looks like it. Yep. Share that.
how many acres, you want to know?
There's approximately 54 acres of land, give or take.
Can you pull it up to see how much of it is wetlands in art on the?
Yeah, the GIS layer on
Looks
it.
like a portion of the land abuts Tinkerville Brook, which is a perennial stream.
Yeah, so there you go. Zoom in now. So that green shaded area
Yeah.
is what DEP shows as there being wetlands. And now, keep in mind, that's not necessarily gospel. That's
Kind of.
what DEP has determined. And the way they did those maps is they're all done by people in an office looking at aerial photography, giving it their best educated professional guess.
Okay.
How much frontage does it have, Matt? And do you know if it's subdividable?
It does not contain legal frontage for a developable lot. It does have a wide enough width at its entrance to become a subdivision if someone wanted to put a road in and then carve off additional lots through a subdivision control process to the planning board.
Wow. Looks like at least 50 feet then, right,
Yeah.
for a road in?
Yeah, there's not a lot of, there's no room to create any more A&R Form A lots that they're done.
Yep, gotcha.
Yeah. So if they're going to do anything, they'd have to bring in a road.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, can we ask that everyone speak up a little bit or use the mics better? And also, I'm wondering if you can see a satellite view.
Sure. It will be over here. So move that. Hit the 3 lines. And hit base map. Hit local. That one right there. And then hit 2021. There you go.
Okay.
So we show them where we were sitting. Like,
Right at the top.
yeah,
Right
that's
there.
where we took those pictures looking in.
Yeah.
As far in as we could get.
That's a huge piece.
So a lot of it's wooded.
Yeah, so if you go back to that, the wetland map that showed the wetland straight across, I suppose that what somebody could do is come in with a subdivision road, propose to do a crossing, and, yeah, and then maybe have some house lots in the southern part and some house lots in the northern part in the field, all subject to, you know, wetland delineation and all that, but see what the true extent is, but that's what could, I guess, would possibly be done.
So there's no plan for this?
No, it's in a foreclosure from the bank.
It's a foreclosure?
Yeah, right?
Oh.
That's my understanding, yeah.
Oh.
So the town has a chance to pick it up.
Yeah,
Oh,
because it's in
I gotcha.
Chapter 61,
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah,
right?
wow, that's great.
Yeah, I've never actually seen you know, Chapter 61 property go into foreclosure. Usually it's when somebody's selling it to a developer first, you know? So then the town has first right of refusal. So this one's a little different procedure, but I guess it's still the same, no matter what. If there's a transfer, town has first right of refusal.
Right.
Can you hear that, Laurie?
No.
No? Test 1, 2? I guess I got to get really close. Okay.
Okay. I mean, it's a nice piece of land for the town to preserve,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
There is a significant amount of wetlands there, too, so.
Your call.
I can see both sides. I don't have a strong opinion either way as to whether we should recommend it be preserved or not. You know, we have 4,000 acres or so of conservation land in the Douglas State Forest. So, you know, and that's where, you know, most of our conservation land is. So guess I'm not strongly opposed to letting it go. Or I'm not opposed to letting it go.
What else is around there?
So on the northeast and west sides, it's single-family house lots.
Okay.
On the
Are they all on well or are they on town?
I would say that they're on wells in this area.
Yes.
Who owns
Yeah, Hemlock,
owns the south
that would
here?
be all.
We get to the south.
All wells and private sewer.
Keep on going.
And there's no town property around it. We're getting into Rhode Island at this point.
Okay.
Connecticut.
Yeah, one private property south of it, and then you're into Burrville.
Okay.
And it looks like that's probably the Buck Hill management area. Now, keep in mind that if you say no and the town says no, that if it gets sold, there's a very good chance as a developer going to propose a road in through here and a Form C subdivision.
It won't be a horse farm or something like that.
No.
Oh,
Probably not.
probably. This usually, I wish I could be, a optimist, but that's usually not the way it goes.
Those 3 pictures you took really nice though, so that shows you how, I don't know. I think we should keep it.
Either way, I guess I'd want to know, like, so we don't run into another problem with the wells and everything, if that would be the same thing, going down that same road.
Yeah, well, you're not going to know that until you start drilling. So, yes, Shirley.
Shirley Masinski, 60 Oak Street. We still can't hear you back here, so could you pull your mics closer, please?
All right, can you hear me okay or no? All right, so what do we want to do?
Either way, it
We get
It doesn't
need a
matter.
motion on
Yes,
this?
no, it's really just yes or no.
Just a yes or no?
Yeah. I go around just yes, no.
You don't have to propose a motion to,
Doesn't hurt.
okay.
I don't think it's that formal. Is it that formal, Matt?
The board should take a vote on some form of motion. If you choose not to take any vote tonight, then the board will assume that the commission is not interested in the property.
Fair enough.
Okay, I'll propose a motion that, that the town of Douglas keep, what is it, 34 Hemlock Street?
Is there a purpose behind the motion for conservation
For
purposes and restriction?
Conservation purposes, yeah. Yeah.
I'll second the motion.
We got a motion and seconded. We have a roll call vote.
Mark Mungem, no.
Well, okay.
It's okay.
Jim Foran, no.
Okay, Josiah Birch, yes, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
So in a tie, the motion does not pass.
Okay.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on. Next is 60 Walnut. Matt?
Yep, this one Matt's going to handle.
Sure. So, Mr. Chairman, one of the developers for this project approached me, and after he set the boundaries for his erosion control measures, he noticed a tree that was slightly outside of the scope. Brandon, I think the plans are in your packet, so I kind of marked it up for you.
Yeah, we have some stuff
Showed one of the
to
trees
No, not
that was
that- not
outside of the scope
bring up the
on the
revised.
south part of the lot, the southwestern part.
Actually, mark
It's
the
inside
plan.
the 25-foot no disturb zone, but the tree, I believe, is a major hazard. I mean, the root system is within where the well's supposed to
Go ahead
go,
and share that.
and I think the tree should probably come down, even though it's outside the limit of work. They could bring their erosion control measures around it. And
No, it's not that.
also on the western side of the property, there is a pile of logs that were just left there from previous logging or whatever, but it's an absolute eyesore.
Revise
It
it.
wasn't, it's outside of the limit of work as well. And I believe they would remove those and then
Right.
reset up the erosion control measures. So I guess they're looking for the board's blessing to consider these minor changes to their approved order of conditions and get those things removed for safety reasons.
There we go. Go ahead and share that.
Matt, on the 50-foot mark, you got a green mark there too. Is that anything?
Yeah, the green box is the log pile.
Are they-
So on it, I thought the log pile was the, off to the far right. There's a dot in the center and then to the left.
Yep. Yeah, the dot in the center turned out to be a tree that's within the limit of work, but that was in one of the photographs that I sent over. But that
Okay.
one's okay, you can take that one down. It's really the dot to the left and the green hashed box to the right, which is the log pile,
Okay.
and the tree to the south, which is inside the 25-foot curb, so.
So
But
basically,
it's, the root system is in real close proximity to the well, and when they do the well, they're gonna damage the roots and the tree's gonna fail at some point. So they're best just taking the tree down, I think.
so what are we asking for here tonight, Matt? A minor field change?
Yes, a minor field change in the order conditions.
You got anything, Mark?
Nope, I'm not opposed to it.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm sorry, good?
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm fine.
Okay. You need a motion, Matt?
Yeah, we're looking for a motion to consider these two items as minor field changes to the order conditions issued for 60 Walnut Street.
I'll make a motion that a tree removal next to the well and removal of a log pile that was formerly placed within the 100-foot buffer can be done as a minor modification to the notice of intent or to the order conditions.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote?
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Farn, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Thank
Okay.
you, I will inform the builder. Appreciate it.
Yep. Do we have anything for the open session?
What I'd like to do right now, I see some folks are online for 75 Old Farm Road, and they continue tonight, so you know.
Can't hear you, I'm sorry. What did you say?
75 Old Farm Road is asked for a continuation.
Yep.
Until,
Next meeting,
Yeah, which is 1 week from tonight.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Did they ask for a continuance to the 20th meeting or the June meeting?
they didn't specify.
20th is just for enforcement items.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, Rebecca, it's the first
June
meeting
3rd.
in June. June 3rd.
At the next meeting, could I be given privileges to share documents? I'm not quite sure. It seems like it's blocked.
Next meeting is for enforcement issues only.
It's going to be on the 20th that we hear this case.
No, It'd be June 3rd.
June
June 3rd, I'm sorry, June 3rd.
Yeah, the May 20 meeting is going to be enforcement issues only.
What do you mean?
So the next meeting for this would be June 3rd for the continuance.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if you want to take that out of order and just motion to accept that continuance, that would be a good time to do it.
Okay. Want to make a motion to accept the continuance?
Which one are we looking at?
Old Farm Road, 75,
75.
Number 12?
11.
Oh. I'll make a motion that we accept the continuance for Paul Macharia at 75 Old Farm Road, map 237, lot 25, with the meeting to be continued on June 3rd at 7 PM.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second to continue the meeting for 75 Old Farm Road. Roll call vote.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Farn, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Wonder if we shouldn't do the other ones in case people are waiting on those.
Sure.
Why don't we do 10, Mark, and 12, and I'll take care of the continuance. I'd like to get a motion for the continuation of 140 Davis Street, Ed O'Leary.
Oh,
Why are we continuing that?
Request for that?
Oh, it's continued, yeah.
Oh, I apologize. I asked Ms. Burns to be here for the peer review. I apologize for that.
Yeah, because it says continued.
I don't see that.
Public hearing continued.
Oh, yeah. It's just
Yeah,
continue.
public hearing continued.
Yep.
No, that's, yeah, it's a continued hearing. They're not asking for a continuance.
Okay.
It's a continued hearing.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it's a little deceiving if you look at number 11. It's
Well, I think
almost
the
exact.
continuance for 11 just came in today, so
Okay.
that's why
Well,
it's not on the agenda.
I seen it on there, and that's why, remember I said to you earlier, Matt. It's a little confusing. Okay. Did you want to do anything in open topic?
Yeah, we have a enforcement order that I issued myself with the help of Matt Benoit for Warren Taft at 4 Birch Street. This is some work that was done within 100 feet of Whiten's Reservoir. It has an old order of conditions, DEP file number 143-0713. And the current issue, and we'll bring you some pictures up. This site has a history going back to about 2010 or so, when the owner built a driveway up this area, right where you see those stairs and where all the gravel is. And they were ordered to remove the driveway, which it was removed. And now, about almost 15 years later, there's more disturbance in the same place where the driveway was. So you get some processed gravel that's washing out right down into Whiten's Reservoir. So I can unilaterally issue an enforcement order, which I did. However, it's not official unless and until the commission ratifies it through majority vote. So to me, you can see what it looks like here. In fact, any chance you can go to Google Maps, Samantha, and show what it looked like before, because we can do the street view?
I can share those and the old photos from the order conditions if you wish.
Yeah,
I can do that.
go ahead, Matt. That'd be great, that'd make it easier.
Joe, it's in the front of your notebook. The order of condition, it should be in the front of,
Yeah, it's in the front sleeve.
Oh, okay. That's what I looked for.
Oh, you got it right there?
Thank you.
Back. I got it.
Can you see this picture?
Not yet.
Yes?
No.
no,
Okay. Let me get this screen sharing. Let me correct this. Hold on. Just gonna share my whole screen and then pull up the photos. Here's a screen. Here's one of the photos.
Move.
There are this was the driveway having been removed back in 2006 per the enforcement order issued by this commission. Driveway was put in and this was the driveway removed. And now, as you've seen from Brandon's image, they have reinstalled the driveway again. And right across the street is White Reservoir. And that's where we have our problem. So, this was last July as in its existing state, and then as you saw with Brandon's image, they have done tons of work over here and absolutely changed the landscape of the order that was originally issued by this commission. This is blatant disregard of an order given by this commission several years ago by the same property owner. And I think an enforcement order is definitely in order for this.
Did they ever get a certificate of compliance for a previous order?
I think it was an enforcement order. It wasn't an order of conditions.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how it used to look last summer. So, that's all I have to share for now. Oh, I'm sorry, there was an order of conditions issued for this. I don't believe a certificate of compliance may have been issued, but I can check on that. But one way or the other, there was activity by this commission with regards to this exact issue, and now it's back by the same property owner or his heirs. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell because now they have trust, so it's tough to tell. And this washed out across the street, and I took a call from an anonymous butter who was concerned about the washout that took place the night before.
So I saw this myself. Yeah, that's one of my pictures, and it's pretty blatant.
Yeah.
I would recommend ratifying the enforcement order, and with the order that at the moment, the only order is for a cease and desist. The question is, from here, do you want them to try and file a notice of intent for this? Is this something you would even consider approving? Or would you feel better just having them restore it, because you have that right?
Well, if it was original condition that they got, they were supposed to restore it back to what it was.
They were, back in the aughts, there was a driveway, and they had to restore it back, which they did, and now they're right back to square one.
I'd recommend having them file a notice of intent. If they want this so badly, they can engineer it and design it and bring it in front of us. I mean,
If you think you'll even consider it.
right.
I don't like walking people down the garden path when you know you're not even going to consider approving it, because in that case, just make the order to be to restore it.
Well, I will recommend that we ratify the enforcement order. And I would place a cease and desist with that enforcement order,
Yep.
and then let them come to us to explain where they're at and what they want to do and our concerns with that. I would say, I don't want to reapprove a driveway that's already they've been told that they can't have, because they already have another driveway, it sounds like, so.
Yep.
Right, the highway department denied this curb cut way
Right.
back when they built this home. That's right.
So there's no way I will approve another driveway, so. But if there's changes to, they've also made changes across the street, it looks like, right along the bank,
Correct.
Yep.
within 25 feet of the bank and the wetland, so.
Yes, and it's currently washing off into the water. Okay, so ratify it with a cease and desist, and I'm guessing send that along to them with a letter asking them to attend the next, available meeting?
Yes, and I guess we can request a restoration plan too, correct?
Yes, you can.
That's what I would do, request.
Then that's what I would do.
Plan.
Okay, so the two boxes that'll be checked off are cease and desist, and a restoration plan shall be filed with the issuing authority on or before,
You want the next meeting, June 3rd?
I don't know if you get it done.
No, I think we should meet with them on June 3rd, but then to get the restoration plan at the meeting after that, in my opinion. I think June 3rd might be too quick to get a restoration plan.
When's the next meeting after that, Jim?
17th.
Yep, June 17th.
Okay, so I'll put June 17th, and in the cover letter that goes out, we'll ask them to come to the June 3rd meeting. Okay? All right, then go for it. Do we have a signature page for this, Samantha?
So we need a vote on this first, right?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we ratify the enforcement order, that we issue a cease and desist, that we request that the landowner come before us at our meeting on June 3rd, and then have a restoration plan available for the June 17th meeting. In the meantime, sediment and erosion control should be installed along the bank of the Whitens Reservoir and along the street, if it's not in already.
Okay.
I'll second that.
We have a mo,
Burbridge Street.
Yeah, for 4 Birch Street, yeah.
have a motion and seconded for cease and desist on
4 Birch Street.
what's it?
4 Birch.
4 Birch, thank you. 4 Birch Street. Roll call vote.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Farn, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
They're not here tonight, are they, the landowner? Do we know?
Does not appear to be.
Did they receive this? Do you know? Or you're waiting for it to be
I
ratified?
signed this, I want to say on the 9th. Matt, do you know if Jen sent this out in the current state?
I'll make the changes and then apply the new signature page. No problem.
Yep. Matt, Mark asked if the enforcement order in the current state was sent out to the owner, with just my signature. Do you know? Guess not.
Okay. Go to new business. This is a public hearing. Notice of intent, Judith and Daniel Russell, 90 Island Road, for new well and septic. Map 159, Lot 62, DEP number 1431099. Is anybody here?
Good evening. Karen Keegan from Allen Engineering.
Good evening.
I'm here representing 90 Island Road.
Okay.
This is a septic repair for 90 Island Road, which is off of Wallace Cove Road. There are 4 lots on that peninsula. This happens to be in the middle of that peninsula. It is a 4-room house. There are 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, with an existing cesspool that will be removed, pumped and removed. The proposed septic is outside of the 50-foot buffer where Whitens Reservoir is on both sides of this property. Both it's on the west side and the east side of this property. It's outside of that 50-foot wetland buffer of both sides. There's a proposed well on the southeast corner of the lot. There's erosion control mulch sock around the area that will be disturbed in the front of the lot. This is a pump system with a poly barrier around the system to keep, as much of the effluent out of any kind of area that it shouldn't be in. There are trees located on this property that are shown on that plan, and from what I can see, there's approximately about 3 trees that'll be coming down in that area of the new septic system. Other than that, it is just your average septic. Is a septic on the other side of the lot owned by Daniel and Judith Russell, where it says existing septic. Does the commission have any questions?
Yeah, you said there was only 3 trees coming down?
Well, I did not know there were X's on trees out there.
There are, I saw at least 6.
That's what I counted.
X.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Mr. Chairman, is no matter where you go on this lot, you're going to be about equidistant to
Right.
the water because they're on a peninsula.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I was originally thinking, well, why couldn't they put it on the other side of the house? Then you look across and they would be closer to the other side. So no matter where you put it, they need to stay 50 feet away, whether you go left or right, or up and down. Either way, it's a Title V upgrade. And there's, no matter where you go, there's going to be trees coming down, because there's trees, they got trees right up against the edge of the house.
It was more for just clarification that there was more than 3 coming down, that's all.
That's all, yeah. I mean, in that open area right there is their parking area.
Okay.
I know the Russells are online, if they would like to contribute to the trees that are coming down.
Yeah, we'll go around the board first into the audience, and then I'll get people online. You have anything, Mark?
What's the septic system there now?
Also representing the Witten Point LLC that purchased the property.
Okay, Mr. Russell, Mr. Russell.
Engineers have come out and marked the trees involved or affected, and there's probably at least 6 or 8 of those trees that are all marked that are in the staked area perimeter of the septic. I believe ultimately the 2 units, or the 2 trees directly by the house will also be affected by the line coming out of the house into the tank. So I think those are affected as well.
Okay, Mark, we'll try it again. You get anything?
Where's the existing septic system?
In the front. Just between the house and where the proposed septic system is going. It's a cesspool.
Okay, thank you.
Jim?
No, I'm all set.
Uriah? All set?
Yep.
Brendan, you get anything?
No, this is a Title V upgrade. They're on a peninsula, equidistant, east and west to the water. Regardless of where you put the septic system, you're going to be about the same amount of distance away from the water on either side, and no matter where you put it, trees are coming down. So
Yep.
this is, I think this is as good a spot as any.
Okay. Is there anything from the floor? Okay. Anything else from anybody on Zoom? Okay. Make a motion.
Make a motion, we close the public hearing for Daniel Russell.
Hold on, sorry. Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just want to say we have a work program from Mr. Fanoff on this, and the work program, I believe, has not been paid for yet. So I think what Mr. Fanoff is supposed to produce is a substantive report with regards to the work program on this matter before we close the public hearing.
Okay, so we want to continue it?
Yep.
Okay, we need a motion to continue this.
Make a motion, we continue the public hearing for Daniel Russell, 90 Island Road, map 159, lot 62, until June 3rd.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? Can I ask what the work program is?
It's a 53G work program for me to do the compliance review under the Wetlands Protection Act and Douglas Article 8, which I pretty much already done.
Right, Brandon Fanoff is not an employee of the town of Douglas, so we engage his services to do a review of the project through 53G, and that's what the work program is for.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to continue the 90 Island Road, Daniel Russell. And it's map 159,
Just
lot...
one question, if you clarify, what will be involved in this? Is this something,
Okay, I got to ask you, I don't mind answering the questions, but you can't just interrupt me in the middle of what we're doing here.
oh, I'm sorry, apologies.
Okay, I'm going to continue with the vote, and then you can ask what it involves. Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay. Okay, motion's been made and seconded to continue the notice of intent for Judith and Daniel Russell, 90 Island Road, Lot 159, Lot 62. Roll call vote, and that's to June 3rd meeting.
Mark Mangum,
Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Now, if you have a question, we're happy to answer it.
Yeah, just looking for clarification as to what's required for this, this deliverable, this task.
Yeah, so Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Can I have your name, please?
So the work program it's customary for any Conservation Commission to have your engineer's report reviewed by a third party, and the third party in this case is Brandon Pfaff. And that's what he's performing his work program for. I know he's already been out to the site, he's kind of done the work and done his review, but it needs to be in writing and we need that report on file.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, no other questions, we'll move to the next one. Public hearing, notice of intent for John Mushi, 45 Martin Road, Lot 4, single-family house, single-family, map 169, Lot 23. DEP number, it's not assigned yet, right?
We do have one. Were we on Lot 3? This is DP file 143-1100.
Okay. We're ready.
Website for the,
Good evening, my name is Nicole Hayes, wetland scientist with Goddard Consulting. We're here before you with two notice of intents, one for Lot 3 and one for Lot 4. First, before I go into the work proposed in the areas proposed, we got information back from DEP, and DEP commented on, I want to read it to you. Mass DEP notes that the ponded area of Southwick Brook could possess a defined bow wag through its entirety during portions of the year, suggesting the possible presence of unidirectional flow within the wetland. According to the regulations, and I have these handouts for you just in case you need them. Oh, yeah. On the last page of the handout that I gave out, in the riverfront area, it states, where rivers flow through lakes or ponds, the riverfront area stops at the inlet and begins again at the outlet. A water body identified as a lake, pond, or reservoir on the current USGS map or more recent map is a lake or pond unless the issuing authority determines that the water body has primarily riverine characteristics. The pond on site is listed and stated as a pond. It's called Martin Street Pond. Also by the EPA, EPA also recognizes this area as a pond. And that was your first cover page of that information I just gave out. So therefore, if you look at here, the Southwick Brook starts and ends here, then you have the pond, and then you have the river coming out here. So the riverfront area is only associated with the stream itself It's not considered to be within the pond. And I went to the site this afternoon to look at if I could find any unidirectional flow to find that information out. I did take some videos. I used a ball, and I also used an orange, which is the DEP recommends that you use an orange to float to see if there's movement within the channel. Within the videos I just took them, I can pass them around, but there is a point, right, you can physically see it if you're standing there. You can see the water flowing in, and then it drops a tiny bit, and then there's no flow at all. It's almost like it becomes too level of an area. There's not a gradient, and there's no flow in that area. And I can submit those documentation. We can also do a dye test if the commission so chooses. But I have always been under the impression that that area is a pond, and Southbrook Brook, the riverfront, would end here and here. So this would only have the bank resource of the pond and BVW, if there's any BVW associated with it. So with that, I can go over the information. I just wanted to talk about what DEP's comment was and see if we're all on board with that comment. So this is lot 3. So you understand, it's going to be on this, there's a nice large hill right in this area right here. And we're proposing 2 house lots. Lot 3, there will be some disturbance to the 0 to 25 foot zone for the proposed driveway. That's the only way to get access to that upland area. It's going to be 1,379 square feet. And it's for the driveway. The closest point is 12.5 feet away from the wetland. And according to your regulations, it must be further than 10 feet away, which it is. So then the work within the 25 to 50 foot buffer zone would be grading and the rest of the driveway. And then within the 50 to 100 is mostly the house, some grading, and the septic. So it's a buffer zone project, and that's what we're proposing for that work in that, on that lot. And I can take any questions on lot 3, if there is any.
So the driveway's going to be in the 25-foot zone, right?
Yes, it has to. There's no other way to gain access to that upland area. And we've tried to move it away from the wetland as much as possible. We were actually kind of nervous that we might have to impact wetland to gain access, but we did find a way. We positioned it, moved the house a little bit, and therefore we don't have to impact wetland, but in order to gain access, we do have to be within the 0 to 25 foot buffer zone.
I have a couple questions on the driveway. Is this a shared driveway or a common driveway with another lot?
Yes. So yes, the driveway towards the bottom continues and it goes to lot 4. So it's only one interruption into the no disturb for both houses.
Okay. Next question. The road or driveway where it enters Martin Road, it enters within the 50-foot buffer. Why would the road not come into Martin Road where there is no buffer? There's an area there where it says DH set in stone and the 100-foot, it's outside the 100-foot buffer. Why is the road, why is the driveway hugging the wetland as opposed to coming to an area that's less in the buffer?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Why does it come here and not like that?
I'm not sure why they didn't do that.
Good evening, Karen Keegan from Allen Engineering. I can answer that question.
Yes, please.
The area there, I mean, we could move it if you wanted it to be moved, but it was a shorter access into that area if you kept it coming in where it is right now. If you move it over towards the 100-foot buffer, the driveway gets a little bit longer. I mean, we could do that if that's what the commission would like us to do. I have no objection to it.
Okay, thank you. And third, there doesn't appear to be any grading shown for the driveway in the area where you're going closest to the wetland. Is there any fill involved in creating the driveway in that area or drainage pipes?
It's very flat in that area, so there isn't very much grading in that area at all.
So you're digging down to create the base for the driveway?
They'll have to remove material, yes, to create a base for that driveway, but for the most part, it's a very flat area.
Right, so wouldn't that be below the elevation of the wetland if you dig down any there?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it would pose a problem or not.
Thank you.
You got anything, Jim? Brennan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Looking at the regulations, if you go to Table 1, which is the areas within which our work is presumed by the commission to result in alteration of the resource area unless the presumption protection is overcome. And once again, I'm a little confused by the wording here. The first is roads or multiple concurrent driveways. The limit of disturbance is 25 feet, except for permitted crossings through wetlands, and the limit of building 30 feet. And then the next one down is private driveway with 1 in parentheses. Limit of disturbance is 10 feet. So do we consider this to be a private driveway 1 or roads or multiple concurrent driveways? Because this is a shared driveway.
Right, so it'd be 2.
So you think it's the concurrent driveways? If that's the case, it's 25 feet, so they're going to be within 25 feet. So, the applicant has to, prove to you, the presumption is the commission shall presume that work in the categories shown on Table 1 within the tabulated distances from a resource area will result in alteration of a resource area and will require that the applicant maintain a strip of continuous undisturbed vegetative cover within the 100-foot buffer unless the applicant can demonstrate to the commission that the area or part of it may be disturbed without harm to the values protected by the town bylaw. So I think that's the task for Nicole here tonight, is to tell you why it's not going to alter, I guess, create adverse impact to the wetland. And I think it's a little more than like your typical limited crossing where you can say there's no other means of ingress or egress. You have to prove to the commission that what you're going to do is going to have minimal harm, and that, it will not result in an alteration of the resource area that they would then have to deny. The other part of this that's of utmost importance is DEP's comment regarding the pond possibly being a river, and Nicole cited the correct section saying that, a lake or pond, as depicted on the USGS, is a lake or pond unless, the commission determines that it has more riverine characteristics. So that's the other thing. I know that Nicole said she did some investigatory, initial investigatory work today. I would like to see, in order to satisfy DEP's comment, something a little more formal, in writing or present video, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think we're quite there tonight. This hill, it's an elongated hill that we call an esker. It's a really aesthetically pleasing area, I would say so. It's right on the pond. You can, and Sam will bring up some of the pictures to share. I think it's very important because they're going to be doing some major grading on the esker where the houses are being proposed, right through the middle to within 25 feet of this water body on the left-hand side of this picture. There's mature trees. It's a healthy native forest, no invasive plants. There's lots of mountain laurel in there. Yeah, I think that's still a good enough picture. Keep on going, just keep on scrolling. Yeah, so that gives you an idea. So that the house in this picture is going to be on the right-hand side, and they're going to dig into the hill right there. Show approximately with the cursor there, Sam, about where the driveway is going to be.
It's down, ascend down here a little bit more.
Right, and there's a little backwater area to the pond / river, depending on how the study goes. That's a good picture. Go back to that one right there. That gives you an idea of what the esker looks like. You got the main body of water to your left, and then it comes up, and it's this long hill, and then goes back down on the right-hand side. There were beaver in the water. I saw with my own eyes today the beaver swimming around. I'm guessing there must be a beaver dam and or beaver lodge somewhere around there. Yeah, just an idea of what it looks like. Excellent habitat, in my opinion. So the river issue is very important because if it's considered to be a perennial stream and not a pond, because it's determined to have more riverine characteristics than pond-like characteristics, this project might be dead because there can be for new construction in the riverfront area has to stay at least 100 feet away. Like there's a 100-foot, for lack of a better term, no-touch zone. That would pretty much kill this project. So it's a very important thing that DEP wants to figure out.
And I would also encourage the commission to come out and check out the on-site conditions when I was there, and I will submit the videos for evidence, and I'll write something up as well. But as you're standing in the field, you can pinpoint where the flow stops. You can see it flowing, and then it just drops off. And I put in a ball, I put in an orange, and I also put in a soccer ball and some other things just to show you, and they all stop at the same point. And if you're physically standing there, you can see the water moving, and then a few inches, it's just nothing. I and I think it's because of the topography and the elevation and it just being so level that there's not a gradient for the water to keep flowing.
I'm not opposed to a dye test, but I would like to be there to see it.
Yeah, I would also I would like the commission to see that point that I'm talking about, where you can physically see. I mean, it's blatantly obvious, is my point. So I ask you, if you can't come to the site, we'll do a site walk. I'll be there. We can even do the dye test then. So that's what I would like to see on that topic happen.
We can coordinate that, Nicole.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
I would also like to see the site,
Okay.
a site walk.
And we can look into moving maybe this driveway out of here a little bit. The only issue is I don't know if we'll be able to get it 25 feet away, but we'll work on that. We'll do our best on
This section of the driveway, as you're coming in off Martin Road, you got the first one, 25-foot no-touch zone, and then you go up and there's another one up on the back side. That section in between, what is this right here? I mean, is this, you see what I'm talking about, Mark? You got 25 no-touch here, and then you got a 25 no-touch here, comes down around. Get this section right in here.
Yeah, well, it's because you got wetlands on both sides. So there'll be a 25 touch
Right, but is
off of
this
this.
wetlands going across now?
No.
Or is there gravel there, or is there something?
Nope, this is upland. It's a pine grove right in through
Okay.
here with upland soils as well. And that's another reason why we chose this area, because we didn't want to impact wetlands. But that's why that is. And we'll look into that further on the driveway and see if we can position that better.
Brandon, did you review the flagging?
Oh, yeah, the flagging's fine, in my opinion.
Flagging is accurate?
Yeah,
Okay.
Flagging is accurate. We get this issue with the riverfront area and the threading of the driveway. And you know, keep in mind that tell me if I'm wrong, but that my interpretation of the regulations here is that you can require a full 100-foot buffer strip should you feel that it's necessary. Like the 25 and like 50-foot no touch is like the minimum. So I would highly recommend that you go and look at this area and see it for yourself, because I think it's one of those spots in town that has higher than average value to the public interests before you go in.
It also has some historic,
That I do
I
not
think it
know.
used to be called Ghost Orchard, the Ghost Orchard. If I'm, Shirley, can you? No, it was in this area?
I don't know.
Okay.
You know, you hear rumors, but to be positive, I can't.
Yeah. Trying to remember from reading the bicentennial
Could be.
book, and they had a piece about this area, I know, and it was starred and said something. I can't remember what the name of it was, but. And are you sure that there's no flow of water between the two wetlands where the driveway goes through that narrow section?
Yes, there's absolutely there's no water per se, there's no surface water per se in these wetland areas here. It's based on vegetation and soils, the wetland line in those areas. Yeah, and there's a pine. When we go to the sidewalk, we can take a look at that as well.
And if I can just bring up one thing, I do remember being told, I've never been to this site per se, but if I can remember being told, that's the actual entrance into that area right there. That's actually a cart path going in.
No, we changed that. The cart path ended up having more wetland than we anticipated, so we moved This driveway's in a different area.
It is, I saw that cart path, and it actually goes through the BVW on the left-hand side of that.
That's what we were hoping to use, was that cart path, but when I, did the delineation, it was wet, so.
Yeah.
Anything? Anything else from the board? Good?
I will say that the area where the driveway's threading the needle between the two lobes of wetland is about as close as you can get to being a wetland without being a wetland. I call it a moist land.
Right, I don't know how you can build a driveway in there without raising it. Just,
Yeah.
it's
I
impossible.
would tend to agree. You'd have to do something there. It is, it's taken soil samples, and it was about as close to being a hydric soil as you can get without actually being a hydric soil. It has all the requisite wetland plants, but it's like one chip away from being a hydric soil.
Yeah, I thought it was like a pine grove in there, in that particular area.
True. The pines have buttressed trunks, and you see hemlocks in there, which is actually a FAC wet plant in Massachusetts, even though nationally it's FAC up. And I see pine trees in wetlands all the time.
All right, well, we'll reevaluate the location of the driveway, and we'll come up, the engineers will also come up with some wordage, some documentation on how they're going to be able to create this driveway in this particular area. That's engineering.
There seems to be a lot of grading of the esker on the pond side, up and over the top of the hill.
Yes, that's one of the reasons why I'm so concerned about DEP's comments, because they're going right up to the 25-foot mark. And if it ends up being riverfront area at all in that area, then it changes from 25 to 100. And that's not just under the bylaw, that's state law.
I mean, what's the reason for all it would require clearing and grading of the area towards the pond? Do you know why that's being proposed?
They have to, I guess they have to clear it to make room for the grades and the construction.
Right.
It seems to me.
So why is like the peak 498 being cut down to 492 on the southern side of the property? And why is the other part where it says 493.8 in the box, why is that being lowered as much as it is?
I'll let the engineers speak on that.
You gotta be able to fit that septic system in there, and to get that septic system in there, you have to bring the grade down. And you gotta put the house in there, you gotta bring the grade down. You can't stick it on top of that hill, it just won't work. So that's why it has to come down. Unfortunately, but it does. The grades wouldn't work if you stuck that house up on the hill and you didn't grade around it. And or the septic wouldn't work.
So what's the first floor elevation of the house? Is that 493? Is that?
493 is the top of the concrete, and the basement is 485. So it's a drive-under garage.
Right.
To try to get, I'm trying to use the grades to the advantage of building the lot, but you still have to take, I mean, when you get out there, you'll probably see that it's a very large mound.
Yeah, maybe it's not best for a house.
Just to be able to grade around the house, to grade around the septic, to get that driveway in.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a pretty big area of disturbance that it does, I need to better understand it and see it, I guess, to know why why
Yes.
that area of disturbance is so large.
I mean, I've actually tried to keep it at a bare minimum. I mean, but you have to have, you can't just stick the house in there and then just grade. It's a big hill, you have to see it. It's a big hill, basically is what it is. No other way to describe it.
Anything else?
I mean, I'm happy to meet you all out on site too. Possibly, you know, whatever you need to do.
That's for lot 3.
Anything else, Mark?
Nope.
Is there anything from the floor? Any questions? Is there anything from anybody on Zoom? Okay. I think we entertain a motion to continue this.
Make a motion that we continue the public hearing for John Mashusian, 45 Martin Road, lot number 3, map 169, lot 23, until June 3rd.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and seconded to continue the public hearing on 45 Martin Road, Lot 3, until June 3rd. Roll call vote.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So I guess we'll just briefly talk about Lot 4.
Open up
I
lot
gotta
4.
open up
Yep.
I gotta close this public hearing on this one, right?
Nope.
No, we just continued
Just
it.
continued, that's all. So now you can open up lot 4.
Okay, so next, we're going to do a public hearing, notice of intent. John Mashusian, 45 Martin Road, Lot 4, single-family home, map 169, Lot 23, DEP numbers 14310.
1101.
Okay,
Good evening. My name is Nicole Hayes, wetland scientist with Goddard Consulting. This-
Point of order. I apologize, Mr. Chairman. You just have to declare that the public hearing is now open. That's all. Thank you.
the public hearing is now open on 45 Martin Road, Lot 4.
So, again, as we've discussed before, the driveway from Lot 3 continues to then provide access to Lot 4. There is no work proposed within the no disturb zone for Lot 4, which is the 0 to 25 foot. The 25 to 50 foot buffer zone, there'll be some driveway and grading. And then the rest of the work is within the 50 to 100 foot buffer zone, which is the house and the septic and grading. So this one is much easier than the Lot 3. However, we need Lot 3 to access for Lot 4. However, as we discussed earlier, we will look into maybe moving or adjusting that driveway entrance.
Same comments on this one, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
And I would have the same comment as well in regards to the area of work being very large, and if anything can be done to reduce the limit area of work and to increase the buffer on the pond side. You know, a case in point is the hay bales or the silt fence, as shown on the northern side of the site, look to be, 20 feet away from where the grading stops. So why not have the edge of those, that barrier be right along where the grading ends?
I'm sorry, where are you talking about on Lot 4?
On the north end of the lot.
Okay,
The erosion control barrier line looks to me to be about,
goes through the Lot 4 description
correct?
there?
Yes, correct. Yep.
Yes, that could be moved in. That absolutely could be moved in. But as you can see, I'm taking down that hill as it's coming down towards the house. So yes, I can tighten up that area of erosion control.
What's the slope in that area?
It's a
The created
3-to-1
slope. Say that again?
A 3-to-1 slope.
What is the slope down to the pond? That's tighter than 3-to-1, correct? That looks like 2-to-1 or so?
That's, you mean towards the Martin Road area?
Yeah.
It's a 2-to-1.
So could that slope be changed from 3-to-1 to 2-to-1 to reduce the area of work?
I could do that, absolutely. I can tighten that up, move it in a good 25 feet at least.
Those are the kind of things that I'm looking for, is ways to be able to reduce the impact on this site and to increase the setback from the pond.
Yeah, I can do that. I just need to keep the water away from the house. That's all I need to do, is be able to drain that away from the house. But yes, I tighten that up. I can move those contours closer to the house, and tighten that erosion control up. Where the 2-to-1's lower.
Bill set, Mark?
This picture up here kind of gives you an idea what the slope is. Yeah, it's about 2-to-1, so that's like a 50% slope. So it goes down pretty quick, and it goes right down to the water.
Yeah, we had this very similar situation on the development off of the West Hartford Road, going towards Uxbridge on the right-hand side, where there's the stream at the bottom of a steep slope, and, we, as a commission, did our best to try to preserve that entire slope. Here, we're taking the top 25 feet of it off. I'm just not excited about that whatsoever.
Anything else?
Does the commission want to do a site walk?
You want to do one?
Yes, I definitely want to do a site walk.
I'd like to look at it.
Yeah, the commission would want to do one.
When do you typically do your site walks? Is it during the week, on the evenings, on a Saturday?
It's basically when everybody's available, which is like herding cats.
Right.
Saturday morning would be a good time.
This Saturday?
This upcoming Saturday morning?
Jim?
What time?
Earlier the better.
Yeah, that's fine with me, like 9, 8, 6.
Hey, I'm at
Nicole?
4:30, so it doesn't matter.
I know, that's why I said that.
So that would be the 18th. I am co-teaching a wetland delineation class in Marion, so I will not be available.
How long does it take you to get there?
It takes about 50 minutes to get there
We
without
can go for
traffic.
6 if you want. I'm joking.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to see what you see,
Right.
whether I'm there or not.
Right.
So why don't we call it Saturday, 8:30?
It's fine. That'd be good. Is that okay with you?
Yes, 8:30 Saturday?
8:30 it is.
So that's
That has to be posted,
It
right?
has to be posted. We'll let Jen Kuchar know about that tomorrow.
And it only has to be posted if you have a quorum.
I think there will be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else on the floor that, anybody has a question about it? Or anybody on Zoom? Okay. I'll make a motion to continue this.
I'll make a motion that we continue the public hearing for John Mashushian, 45 Martin Road, lot number 4, maps 169, lot 23, till June 3rd.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote. We have a motion that's been made and seconded to continue the meeting on Lot 4 on 145 Martin Road. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so next is item 8, and this is a public hearing, notice of intent for Christopher Betancourt, Orange Street, Lot 10, single family, map 266, Lot 13-10, DEP numbers 143,
I don't see that we have one yet.
so we don't have a number yet?
Well, Tom Schutz might know something about it that we don't. Check the website, Sam, see if anything's come up. No DEP phone numbers yet, file numbers.
Yes, Matt?
Will you be reading in the hearing notice for this and then opening the hearing? This is a new item.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so there's no number on this?
Correct, not yet.
Okay, so we'll open the meeting for, let me see here, what number is this? Lot 10, Orange Street, for Christopher Betancourt. And it's map 266, lot 13-10. Okay, somebody presenting anything for this?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I am on Zoom. This is Tom Schutz from Goddard Consulting, who is here on behalf of the applicant tonight.
Okay.
Brendan, do you mind if I share my screen? I just have a colored up presentation of this
No
exact
problem.
site plan that might just make it easier for the commission to view.
Can we give Mr. Schutz sharing capabilities, please?
All right, everybody, can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
So again, Tom Schutz from Goddard Consulting here on behalf of the applicant at 0 Orange Street, Lot 10. Currently, if we look up in the top right corner, it is a forested, non-developed lot. It is not within 200 feet of a perennial stream shown on the USGS map, and we'll move on to the resource areas in a second. So here in the red outline is our property boundary. To the eastern section of the site, we have a bordering vegetated wetland that is actually on site. The yellow line here is the 25-foot buffer zone. The orange line here is the 50-foot buffer zone, and then the red line here is the 100-foot buffer zone for the on-site wetland. Additionally, we have Orange Street, which runs adjacent to the site, and we have another off-site BVW system that can't be seen currently on here. It is not flagged as part of this application because it's not a part of the property or ownership group, but we did add the buffer zones to the plan accordingly. The yellow here is the 25-foot buffer zone. This is the orange is the 50-foot buffer zone, and the red is the 100-foot buffer zone. The applicant is proposing a single-family house with a driveway that is mostly outside of the buffer zone. We also have a septic system that is located down here to the west, the southwest of the proposed house. Additionally, we have a settling area located to the west of the septic system. To the east of the house, we have a dry well and a well, which is located where my cursor is. And additionally, we have a stockpiling area with an erosion control barrier that is also outside of the buffer zone. The work that is proposed within the buffer zone itself is this portion of driveway to the northwest of the site. We also have an infiltration trench, which will deal with the stormwater management, the new impervious surfaces from the driveway, and associated grading that is also within the buffer zone here. The entire proposed limit of work is encompassed within a erosion control barrier that is going to be made up of a straw wattle. Again, this is within the buffer zone of only the BVW that is across Orange Street and not within the one that is currently on site. So if you have any questions for me about Orange Street Lot 10, I'll be happy to answer them at this point.
Okay. Matt? Brennan?
Close enough, just don't call me late for dinner, right? The wetland resource area here, really of importance is across it's on the opposite side of Orange Street. That's kind of what precipitated them originally coming in with an RDA. There was a concern, and we met Mr. Betancourt out on site and told him, yeah, even though the wetland's across the street, you're within 100 feet, you need to come in. He originally filed RDAs for these lots, and I believe it was DEP that said, no, got to come in with NOIs. So here they are with NOIs. They withdrew the RDAs. So here we are with the notice of intent. And a lot of the notice of intent part had to do with the fact that they are a subdivision of 5 lots or greater, which requires the stormwater management report, which they do have. They did submit. I did review. I agree with. And I guess the only thing for me, in order to comply with the bylaw, which I said earlier, like a very small portion of this, like a minuscule portion of this is within the 25-foot no touch for a driveway. So my question to Mr. Schutz that he could maybe even answer tonight is, why does he think that the driveway as proposed will not result in an alteration to the resource area? And I think if he can adequately answer that question to me, then my concerns will be taken care of.
I do think that there will be negligible impacts to the 25-foot buffer zone on site for the proposed driveway. The only impact would be down in this vicinity here to the 25-foot buffer zone, and it is also across Orange Street. And Orange Street is a dirt road that is arguably much closer to the resource area than where our proposed driveway is going to be. Additionally, we're going to be providing stormwater management with this infiltration trench, which will prevent any sedimentation or erosion from leaving the site and captured and allowed to be infiltrated into the ground much better than the actual Orange Street would be. So this would actually be an improvement upon existing conditions for stormwater management, that is. So I don't believe that there would actually be any impact to the 25-foot buffer zone that would be considered damaging or, yeah, that's my answer to that.
I think for me, that's adequate. And I'm looking at the stone infiltration trench because the thing that I'm most concerned about is the water getting down onto the street, causing flooding, and getting across the street into the wetland. And I want to make sure that the driveway is graded in such a way that the water is being directed towards that infiltration trench and not straight down the driveway. And I'm looking at these grades. They are pretty flat, you know,
They're
Chairman.
going away from the infiltration trench.
Yeah, is that a trick to my eye, or is that, am I
No,
right?
they're going away from it in mine.
Right, so that's it. You know, the detail for the infiltration trench, I think, it's a good one, but I just want to make sure that the water is going to get directed towards the trench and not straight down the driveway or away from the other side.
Yeah, absolutely, and I totally understand that, and I can ask Kevin Demers, the site civil engineer, about that prior to the next hearing. We can't close anyway tonight because we don't have a DEP file number, so that will be answered at the next hearing.
That would satisfy me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else on the floor?
Yeah, I have a question about the width of the driveway and the width of the grading and limit of, and work area as you approach the Orange Street. Can you tell me how wide that is? I don't have a plan that's to scale, but it looks like the area of work is pretty wide in relation to how wide the driveway is.
Yeah, I believe the driveway is 12 feet wide, the infiltration trench is 2 feet wide, and then the limit of work down closest to Orange Street is about 40 feet.
Which they've already denuded, by the way. It's already clear cut.
It is?
Yeah, that's what prompted this whole exercise to begin with back a few months ago. And one other thing, Tom, on the stone infiltration trench detail, it has a width and a depth, but it doesn't have any numbers, so I'd like to know, exactly how wide and how deep you're proposing it.
All right, that can be definitely arranged for and submitted prior to the next hearing.
Okay. Jim?
You're good.
Mark, anything else?
So is that the only area, Brandon, that's been cut?
No.
Trees removed?
This, a good portion of, between Lot 12, which we have the enforcement order on, and Pine Street has been a lot of clear cutting done already. So the next one that's coming in, Lot 11, is basically the same kind of situation.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to make a note that when he came in for his scenic road permit, we identified that the stone walls were actually on the property and not within the right-of-way. I'd almost appreciate if the engineer could add the existing stone walls to this plan so that we could see those stone walls and how they're going to be preserved as part of the edges of the driveway. That was a commitment that the owner made at the hearing that we had with the scenic road permit.
Absolutely, yeah, we can certainly add that to the plan and discuss at the next hearing.
Do you call out what the driveway is? Is it paved or gravel?
It's paved.
Does that say that on the plan?
I do believe that it does. I can confirm prior to the next hearing. I just don't want to zoom in right now to screw up the zoom, but yes, I believe it's paved, and I can confirm that prior to the next.
Yeah, check your grading. I know you said you were going to, but it seems like it's going away from the infiltration trench.
Okay, is there anything from the floor?
Hi, Kristen Inman, 19 Walton Street.
Kristen?
Inman, 19 Walton Street. I was just bringing up actually the scenic road part of it. To me, I feel like they're gonna, I know the stone wall is on his property, but it seems like they're gonna go beyond that and attach the driveway to the road, which is a dirt road, it's not paved, so I just didn't know if, with the scenic road, if they need like a permit, or if that can be discussed apart with their plan, because they have already done stuff already in the past without a permit. I'm just nervous that it's gonna get left out again.
Okay. Matt was working on that, right, scenic route?
Yeah, Matt's working with the planning board, and he just asked that the stone walls be put on the plan, this plan as well. I don't know how far that goes towards answering your question, though, Matt.
It doesn't. So the town council determined that since they were on the property, that the scenic road permit was not necessary. However, the owner committed at the meeting that he would restore the stone walls as best he could within the driveway cut. I think what she's asking is if he still needs to go to the highway department for a driveway permit, which he would still need to do, absolutely.
Okay.
That answer your question, Kristen?
We had to get a scenic road permit in order to make our driveway opening connected to the street. So I didn't know if he needed a scenic road permit to connect it to the street itself, because if he's gonna pave it, if that's gonna alter the road itself at all, not just his part that he owns, but the right-of-way part of the road.
Okay, that's actually getting a little bit beyond the scope of the Conservation Commission, but yeah, to the degree that it might change the design, the commission, I think it will take that into consideration, but we don't deal with scenic road permits and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else from the floor? Do you have something, Mark?
Yeah, one more thing. I'd like to recommend that the applicant do some tree planting along the edge of the road in the 25-foot buffer to replace trees that were previously cut.
Within 25 feet?
Yes.
Keep in mind, the 25 feet is like a very thin, very thin strip.
Well, I mean, the trees can be outside the 25-foot buffer, but it's, so, yeah, let's say 50, not 50 feet. I'm getting thrown off by the scale.
Would you like a big plan? It's easier to read.
What Mr. Muncham's asking for is within the property line and in between the 50-foot buffer.
Correct. Inside the 50-foot buffer, that's right, not 25. But between the property line and the 50-foot buffer is the area that I'm referring to. Correct. Okay. Thanks, Matt.
Sure thing. And just a clarification, would that be a special condition, or would you require a full planting plan be submitted to the Conservation Commission prior to the approval?
I'd say that if we're going to be coming back while we're waiting for the DP file number, you might as well show it on the plan.
Correct, that's what I would like.
And where would you like to see it? If you could direct my cursor, would you like to see it right here between the edge of the infiltration trench and the driveway on both sides within the limit of work?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Well, here's the question too, Tom, is that because of the cutting that's already been done, we've got the limit of work, right? But how much of that is actually this clear cutting that went beyond that limit of work that could also be restored?
Okay, we'll take a look at that for sure. And
yeah, because
if possible, add additional trees up within the 50-foot buffer zone.
Yeah, all the way to the northern property line. I think there's.
Okay,
tell me if I'm wrong, Mark. I think that your objective is to restore plantings within the 50-foot buffer zone throughout the applicable areas, whether it's in the limit of work or not.
Yeah, see, I don't have, this plan doesn't show the existing tree canopy edge.
Right.
So I was assuming that the tree canopy edge was at the limit of work line. If it's not, then yes, I agree, Brandon. It would be nice to carry those to the property line.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything else on the floor? Anybody from Zoom?
Yep, we have someone from the floor.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa Mozinski, 60 Oak Street. I'm just curious if the commission can specify what type of trees, so that they're native, so that they're not just whip saplings. Can you put some parameters on what kind of restoration you'd like to see?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Lisa. We'll come up with a palette of trees that the contractor can select from.
Great, thank you.
Welcome.
If I can make a suggestion, I would like to put in red oaks. It's just what is out there pretty significantly already. I think that and it's also readily available at the nurseries. That's also something to think about, because when we're doing a restoration, we want to have the trees to be there and be able to be purchased and not have to go out really far out of our way to get them. So a nice red oak or several red oaks along the edge of the property within the 50-foot buffer zone is something that I would think would be applicable for this property.
What do you think would be a reasonable spacing regimen?
I would probably tend to stick to the DEP minimum spacing of 8 feet between the trees.
Red oaks, 8 feet, on center or staggered, whatever you have room for. So OC or staggered, sounds good to me.
Lisa, I'm fine with red oak.
Yeah, and a caliper.
2-inch caliper, 2.5-inch caliper.
2.5-inch caliper.
Just to be clear, it's really difficult to sometimes find trees that are
Sure.
2.5-inch calipers. We really want to restore these areas as quickly as possible when we're doing this, and it could be very hard to find a tree that's that specific. Just a note, I don't know if we want to do a height minimum, like a 4 to 6 feet tall, or 2 to 3 foot tall instead of a caliper size.
I think that's fine. If you go like 4 to 6 feet high as opposed to 2.5-inch caliper. He's got a point there. I've had problems finding certain caliper trees, especially in the springtime, because everybody's buying them right now. Yeah.
I'd go minimum 6 feet.
6 feet total. So 2.5-inch caliper or minimum
6 feet.
6 feet tall. Very good.
Okay, is there anything else from anybody on Zoom? Okay. Entertain a motion to continue this.
Make a motion, we continue the public hearing for Christopher Betancourt, Orange Street, lot number 11, map 266, lot 13-11, till June 3rd.
Second that?
We have a motion and seconded to continue the, what's lot 10, right? Yeah. Lot 10 for Orange Street for Christopher Betancourt. And
It's lot 11.
It's lot 11? Okay. We don't have,
Isn't it?
no, I think it's...
Isn't it lot
no,
11?
No, it's 10.
It's 10. Sorry.
Yep, okay, so it is lot 10. Until June 3rd. Roll call vote.
Mark Mungemai.
Jim Farn, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Okay, next, open a meeting for public hearing. Notice of intent, Christopher Betancourt, Orange Street, Lot 11, single-family home, map 266, Lot 13-11. And we'll open a public hearing. We have anybody here for Christopher, for Lot 11?
Tom?
Oh, sorry, did you say, sorry, go on.
You just opened up lot 11.
Perfect. Tom Schutz, Goddard Consulting here on behalf of the applicant Christopher Betancourt for the lot, Orange Street, lot 11. And I'll share my screen again, just so we can all take a look at this site plan. Fairly similar to the last site that we just looked at. Again, it's a non-cleared lot. You can look up in the ortho here, now within 200 feet of a perennial stream as shown on the USGS map. We have the 100-foot buffer zone from the BVW system that is located on lot 10, which is just to the north of this property here. This red line is the 100-foot buffer zone in the eastern portion of the site. We also have a bit of a 100-foot buffer zone down here to the southeastern portion of the site. Just like the last site, we have a BVW system that is located off-site across Orange Street. So we have the 25-foot buffer zone shown in yellow in this portion, off-site. We have a small portion of the 50-foot buffer zone that is shown in orange in this vicinity, and then we have the 100-foot buffer zone that is shown in red in the western portion of the site here. The applicant is proposing a 4-bedroom house, which is located directly in the center of the site, outside of the buffer zone. We also have a dry well located to the east of the site of the proposed house. Additionally, a stockpile area will be located just to the north of the proposed dry well. To the west of the proposed house, we have a septic system And in this case, the reserve area is actually going to be located within the 100-foot buffer zone, and that is due to the well radius that is located where my cursor currently is. Just like the Lot 10, we will be having a portion of the driveway within the 100-foot buffer zone. The driveway is going to have an associated stone infiltration trench located on the southern side of it. So I'd like to open it up now for any questions from the commission.
Same comments.
Same?
Yep.
Same comments?
Yeah, I think we're dealing with the same comments as we did for Lot 10. Yeah, Lot 10, yeah.
So in this case, we only have a really small portion of the 50-foot buffer zone that is right next to the western property boundary. Would you like to see any plantings there? I just think that's a really small portion to even be putting any trees if we're going to be trying to put them 8 foot on center.
Well, then you probably only have to do one row and make it easier.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just want to point out the commitment from the property owner in the previous hearing to continuation of the stone walls to be added to the plan and kind of reconstructed in the area where the driveway opening is.
Okay, thank you.
That's really important. And if the plantings to be consistent, you know, if they're going to be running from Lot 10, just continue that line right down Lot 11, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that certainly makes sense to just keep it going right south and connect it into this property as well.
And just show the stone walls in the plans. And Mr. Chairman, if I may ask another question. This driveway slopes down towards Orange Street, because there's a large slope here. What additional stormwater, in addition to the trench, do you have to capture the water from getting into Orange Street?
So it's just the infiltration trench at this point. We did submit stormwater management plans that show that we're not going to be releasing any additional stormwater as existing conditions. So we're not expecting any additional stormwater into Orange Street, and the infiltration trench is certainly going to help with that. And additionally, we also have this dry well towards the rear of the property here that's going to manage any stormwater from the proposed 4-bedroom dwelling as well. So we're not anticipating any stormwater being added to the site more than existing conditions already has. And that is shown on the stormwater management drainage calculations.
And Brandon, that's to be part of your peer review, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, that is all I have.
That's okay. Anything from the board?
I would ask that you indicate whether the driveway is to be gravel or paved, as with the last lot. And secondly, there's a sharp drop-off into Orange Street, it appears. Orange Street looks to be at elevation 481 or 482, and your last contour is 486. So can you explain how you're going to work that quick drop-off into the road?
Certainly, and I'm going to have the engineer on for the next hearing as well to discuss the design of the driveway. So we'll punt that to the next hearing to have that answered.
Anything from the floor? Is anybody in Zoom? Okay, well, there's no DEP number on this one also, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I entertain a motion to continue this to the next meeting.
Make a motion that we continue the notice of intent for Christopher Betancourt, Orange Street, Lot 11, map 266, Lot 13-11, till the June 3rd meeting.
I'll second that.
I have a motion, it's been seconded for continue the Lot 11 Orange Street, Christopher Betancourt, map 266, Lot 13-11, until June 3rd. Roll call vote.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Farr, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I make a request?
Yes.
Can we review lot 12 as well in just consecutive order? It's part of discussion later on in the agenda, but if we could just keep this on everybody's minds and just discuss that now. It's part of the restoration plan that was approved as a part of the the enforcement order executed at the last hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we're taking enforcement orders at our following hearing.
It's on this agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, let's see, where do we have that? That's under the updates.
10, 11.
Orange tree here.
Can you bring that up, Sam? Bring up the pictures of the restoration area.
It's in your books. You see it? Lot 12.
Oh, he's bringing up.
Freddie, would you like me to pull up some pictures?
I got some pictures.
Okay.
Okay, so, we'll close the hearing. We'll close this?
No, you just continued it, so you're good. You can just,
Keep going.
the Orange Street Lot 12 violation is not even a notice of intent, so you can just go right into it. No need to open a hearing.
Okay, we're going to continue with Orange Street, Lot 12.
I can give you an update.
Yeah, can you do that?
So I got a notification on the 1st of May that the restoration work was completed. And I went to the site and you see a picture here. They have the 12-foot width of the driveway actually strung off with the orange stakes and orange string. Go ahead and zoom in on that a little bit, Sam.
It's right here, Mark.
Yeah, there we go.
Should be on the Orange Street.
And then on either side are plantings, of which there were some substitutions. I'll let Tom Schutz get into that. My only comments are that there seem to be a couple of plants that went in that, they look dead to me, like they're dead or nearly dead, that I would like to see replaced. And I question the seeding, whether or not adequate seeding had gone into the conservation seed mix, that I really didn't see that was on the ground, but I'll give it back to the chairman.
Okay. So has this restoration been done in your opinion, or?
I don't think it's a dead tree, probably not.
Yeah, well, the thing is that he did it on the first. I don't think he should be penalized for having to replace a couple of trees or perhaps putting down some seed, and that they've done the work as requested as quickly as they could. I think the biggest thing in their mind is probably getting off of the ticket list of $200 a day. So, you know, I think that maybe if you add, like, you suspend the tickets from around May 1st, maybe one additional day to say, you know, I'll let Tom speak on it, but, you know, replace a couple of trees and to possibly put down seed.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can try to complete this restoration as quickly as possible because, again, we were under a $200 a day fee or fine list, and we wanted to just kind of remediate this area and bring it back to how it was previously. We did put down 2 pounds of conservation seed mix throughout the whole restoration area, and that was a spec from New England Wetland Plants itself for an area of this size. So it was seeded with the New England Wildlife and Conservation seed mix. I'm sorry if you couldn't have seen it, and we certainly will put up some plants that were dead. We bought these all from Weston Nursery, and for the substitution wise, we had to substitute the red maple for a black oak, It was again a case of not having any red maples that were to the specs of what was in the proposed restoration plan, and we wanted to get this restoration done as quickly as possible. Black oak is gonna thrive in this area. Most of the trees around it are upland plants, and black oak is an upland plant as well. So we thought that this would be a suitable change and swap for the red maple that we had previously proposed. But other than that, we would like to plant those additional plants, but also kind of come to a conclusion with this restoration area and enforcement order.
And I will confirm that Mr. Schutz came to me first before doing the substitution. So he asked me if he could substitute the red maple for the black oak, and I gave it my blessing. That might be, I'll take Mr. Schutz's word that the seed did go down, so the proof will be in whether or not any vegetation comes up, right? Which should be coming up pretty soon, so my only request is that they swap out a couple of dead plantings so that I can go over with him at a later date. We have tickets.
I have a picture of the seating too, Brennan, that I just took right after it got put down. So if you'd like to share my screen quick, I can just show you that.
Go ahead.
So this is on the right-hand side of the proposed, or of the driveway that was restored. So you can see the seeding that was put down. All of this in here is seed that was put down. It's wildlife conservation seed mix. You can see it spread especially close to the edge of where the wetland is, which is back in this vicinity. So the whole area was seeded with conservation seed mix. This is just a photo of it. So it definitely was seeded with 2 pounds of seed mix.
Yeah, we saw like a clump or two of that seed mix, but I didn't see it throughout. That's my only comment. It's like I would expected to see it look like that everywhere, and I just didn't.
Yeah, and if we don't have the 75% herbaceous layer that we specified within our restoration plan, we can certainly add more. But yeah, we'll just have the seed come up and we'll see if we need to add some more. That certainly can be worked out.
I'm okay with that, if you're okay with that, Mr. Chairman. At the moment, we have tickets that have been sent and delivered to New Sherborne LLC and to the Uxbridge District Court going from April 1st to May 1st. So they've got 30 days of fines at $200 a day. So that's about, they've got $6,000 worth of fines under their belt. I think that they did the work on May 1st, so we suspended, it's not that we meant to suspend it, but we ran out of tickets. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Because we're writing so many for CRG, we ran out of tickets.
Can you just confirm the seeding rate? You say you were seeded with 2 pounds. Is that 2 pounds per 100 square feet, 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet, 2 pounds per acre?
Right.
Yeah, let me just pull up the spec sheet quick.
Or just 2 pounds?
It was 2 pounds, and it's designated as, all right. So this is New England Wetland Plants webpage, and we did it essentially by 1,750 square feet per pound, and the area was just under the threshold for 2 pounds, so we just ended up moving up in that and putting 2 pounds down instead of, I think it was like 1.75 pounds, because you can't actually physically buy 1.75 pounds. They come in 1 pound specs, so, or sorry, the minimum was 2 pounds so we could buy it even. So that's why we put down 2 pounds, but that was over what was actually necessary for this specific seed mix that we put down.
So you only actually seeded that area directly next to the road? None of that other disturbed area has been seeded?
No, we seeded the entire area.
I'm seeing a big disturbed area. There's no way 2 pounds per 1,000 is going to go over that big an area, or 2 pounds of seed will be able to.
So seed was hand spread throughout this whole restoration area outside of the wire fence right here on both sides, 2 pounds hand spread. And that was spec'd out by the New England Wetland Plant seed mix, which is the one we purchased.
That area looks bigger than 1,750 square feet to me.
No, and I totally respect that. It was measured using GIS, which is a very accurate measuring software that we put together the restoration plan for. So we had an exact measurement of what was needed, and that's how we spec'd it out. And that was presented and approved by the commission at the last hearing.
I think the proof will be in, if it comes up. If it doesn't, we'll follow up.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I kind of agree with Mark here. That looks like a huge area.
Yeah, I mean, if you
For
did that with 2
I-
pounds, that's pretty good spreading.
You know, might need a
Again,
little,
we agree with Brandon on this, and if it comes up, it comes up. If it doesn't, we'll add more seed mix down. We don't have any gripes about that.
So I don't recommend lifting the enforcement order until everything has been confirmed to be growing, right? So that you still have. What I would recommend doing at this time is suspending the fines retroactive to May 1st, which is when they did the work. And if we find that they didn't do the sitting, you still have the enforcement order, so you still have the ability to issue fines again if you find that you think that they're not being as forthright as they should be.
Correct.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, need a vote?
What's that?
Need a vote on that, right?
Yeah, so there would be a motion to suspend fines retroactive to, let's say, well, May 1st was the last day. So you make it retroactive to May 1st, or do you make it retroactive to May 2nd?
Say May 1st.
Because May 1st would be the
Yeah.
last day.
I would just.
Yeah, it's the last day.
But continue the enforcement order.
But continue the enforcement, right.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to continue the enforcement order but lift the fines as of May 1st. Roll call vote.
Mark Mungem,
Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
So question to Tom, if he's still there.
Yep.
So has New Shoreburn actually paid any of these fines yet?
I cannot speak to that. I don't know the answer.
Okay, well, they have 21 days in which to pay the fines, and it's been more than 30 days, so I would recommend that they do that as soon as possible, or possibly, if we get back to June 3rd, they could start rolling with the fines again if they don't get paid.
Sorry, is it going to increase the fines or just start them back up if they're not paid within the set a lot of time?
I think that the commission has the authority to start them right from May 1st if they're not paid. So I would recommend getting that payment in.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody. I appreciate your time tonight.
Good night.
Okay, thank you.
Good
night.
All right, going to old business. This is a continuation of the hearing for notice of intent for Ed O'Leary, 140 Davis Street, put up a 7,825 square foot building, map 192, lot 1.
I have to recuse myself for this one.
Good evening.
Yes.
Good evening, Mark Allen from Allen Engineering Associates, here representing Ed O'Leary, 140 Davis Street. Just wanted to give you a recap as to where we have been since we last met here at this commission meeting. We have since issued a set of revised plans and a set of revised drainage analysis per the planning board's peer review agent Graves Engineering. They were CC'd to the Conservation Commission. And they are, obviously on file with you, along with a response letter to all of the, I believe there were about 29 or 30 different items that were part of the Graves Engineering review. So we had asked to be continued to this meeting so as to sort of follow the planning board's meeting schedule. Since then, Matt has gone and solicited a peer review agent for the Conservation Commission for the work in the buffer zone. That that site visit and report was issued last week, and I believe I sent an email here in response late this afternoon, and I just kind of wanted to highlight those 5 changes or recommendations that Davy Resource Group gave. And I think I'll give it back to Matt, maybe to fill in some gaps and maybe kind of hand it over to Davy Resource Group as well, just to kind of recap, their involvement.
Okay, Matt, you there?
Sure. So I'd like to introduce to our peer review consultant, Patty Burns from Davy Resource Group, who could talk about her peer review of this project. She's on Zoom.
Good evening, everyone. I had the opportunity last week to walk out at the site and to look at the wetlands line and then to review the site plan with regards to impacts to the wetlands. I think my first observation was that I had no comments about the wetlands line. I did a quick check to see how far we were from the rivers, to see if the river acts were involved, and I didn't see that we were within 200 foot of a perennial river, that according to the USGS, and so that was not an issue. What I did see were quite a few deficiencies in the notice of intent. And some of them were administrative, things like the copy of a letter to the abutters, proof of sending to the abutters, those kinds of things were missing. The true, what I call the bulk of a wetlands report, was not present. And I also thought there were a number of opportunities to improve or to minimize the damage to the resource areas. We'll go back and say that the revised plans were a very big improvement on impacts to the wetlands and the resource areas, buffers, over what was shown before when I wasn't involved, but I did get a chance to see those plans briefly. So the changes, most of the construction components outside of the wetlands, and there were some minor issues. Basically it was the stormwater basin, which it goes right up to the 20-foot buffer, 25-foot buffer. So nothing crossed into the no touch zone. The septic system was 50 foot from the buffer system. There was a stormwater management chambered system, and that was again 50 to 100 feet away. And the spill area that came in fairly close, I couldn't tell by some of the changes whether or not things were grass covered or gravel covered or stone covered. So I requested that that be shown on the plans so that the Conservation Commission will have the proper details when the construction moves forward. And in that way, if there is a question, you can go back to the approved plans, and there's not a lot of concern about whether or not, well, maybe the plans weren't as thorough as they could have been. If the plans are thorough up front, that really helps the Conservation Commission, and it helps the developer to make sure that everything goes smoothly once the construction goes forward. It also helps the developer get the right bids. I suggested quite a few seed mixes because it's so close. This development is so close to a very high quality woodland, and there was no indication of impacts in the wetlands either. And so I thought in keeping with that, to keep things like crown vetch and other undesirable erosion control seeding, I suggested that, like Tom did in his work recently, to use New England wetlands plant seeding mix so that you're staying with the kinds of seeds that are typical and they won't be bringing in problems. Then there's another thing I really thought would be very helpful for the developer, and that is to identify very clearly that you will use a wattle that is seed-free, so that you're not bringing in seeds of invasive plants and having to deal with that down the road. And then any fill that comes in, I got the impression that you were conserving the fill material from the site and there was no imported fill material, but I thought if there is no imported fill material, that's a good thing to say on the plan, because that relieves that burden of bringing it, especially with invasive seeds and plant parts, knowing that that's all going to court these days. And big bucks are being decided at Superior Court when Japanese knotweed gets brought in. So those were my comments, to be really able to be productive at this final stage, and recognize that the revised plans were an improvement.
Okay, thank you.
And we agree with all of Patty's comments, and we will be noting as such on the revised set of plans. A couple of things that we just also included in our response letter was a quick filling of the cells that Patty also asked about, certain areas in buffer zones, 50 to 100 feet, 26 to 50 feet, and obviously nothing's been proposed to be within 0 to 25 feet or any wetland resource area impact. So we did memorialize that in that letter, the letter response back today, just so you have it. The other item was that swale is a riprap swale, just for clarification. It's noted as such on sheet C9, but we will just sort of double note it all over the plan set accordingly.
Thank you.
And just another couple of housekeeping items. At the planning board meeting, last meeting, they did request that we also submit an earthwork special permit for the fill to be removed from the site. So we are on track to be on the June 12th meeting for that special permit. And later this month, on the 22nd of May, we are anticipating Graves to have their second peer review letter done based on this revised set of plans and drainage analysis.
Okay. I'd like to see a plan.
Matt, do you have a plan that you can put up? Or the revised plan? Because we don't have one here. We're kind of working blind.
Oh, that's not in the packets. I apologize. Mark, could you share your screen and pull that up, please?
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
See, shares. You just have to reactivate it.
Oh, good.
There we go. Yep, gotcha. Let's see here. Oh, well, while we still have Patty here, we did file this through the ENOI portal, and we did do the proper notifications when you have all of the certified mailings and legal notices for public hearing, the affidavit of service, all just didn't get attached to that ENOI.
Okay.
So here is the revised site plan. I will go to the most sort of important sheet, is the grading sheet. Some of the significant changes are along the gas line to the north of the site. Instead of doing a one-to-one riprap slope treatment, we have tightened up and sort of eliminated some of the paved areas around the gas easement. We brought it in about 8 to 10 feet from the gas line to the north and about 5 to 6 feet from the gas line to the east. That allows us to do a more gentle, easier to maintain 2-to-1 slope throughout the rear of the back of the property. And we've also added 3 tiered boulder or landscape modular concrete block walls to the rear. That's a significant change, and it will reduce the amount of fill that will be needed to be taken off-site. The other big change to the project was the removal of the stone gabion basket drainage basin, which was in this location here, and we have now replaced it with a more standard grass open-air stormwater basin that will have 3-to-1 slopes and 2-to-1 slopes inside. We did maintain the Cultec chamber system in order to take the rooftop runoff, and that is still in its same location. We did sort of tighten up the area of disturbance within the buffer zone, and in doing so, the removal of the gabion baskets allowed us to pull this limit of work up about 10 feet. You can see the 25-foot no disturb zone in this line is not right at that 25-foot no disturb line anymore. And the septic system location is here, as opposed to previously it was earmarked to be in this location here. So we feel that this has been an improvement from the last application, both stormwater-wise and area of impact. We did sort of want to enforce that the limit of work in the buffer zone represents about 4/10 of an acre. It's a little under a half an acre, and it's primarily drainage basin related. Small portion of the corner of the building is in the buffer zone, and a small portion of the work is within 25 to 50 feet of the wetland. Other items are fairly standard, just the revised details. The new drainage basin cross-section has been added. There were some plants that were added to the planting plan per comment. Some of the vegetation along Davis Street outside the buffer zone, they wanted, planning board wanted 2 more street trees to be planted in that area per the bylaw. And that about wraps up the changes. Not wholesale changes, but significant changes.
Board have anything?
I have a couple questions. Thanks for that review. That was good. Is the detention basin meant to infiltrate water, or is it merely to hold back water and then it will empty into the wetland?
No, it is actually designed to infiltrate. So both the rooftop runoff is going to go into the Cultec system, has a component of infiltration, and then whatever doesn't infiltrate into that will then get discharged into the open air basin, which takes the catch basin drainage and will also infiltrate through the bottom of the basin.
And have you...
The peak flows and volumes post-construction will be less than the peak flows and volumes pre-construction.
Okay. And what are the soil conditions there? Have you done soil tests to know that this water will infiltrate into the soil at that elevation?
Absolutely. So we've done a series of testing. I'll kind of zoom in here. We did a few in the building area and a few down in this area where the infiltration basin and the Cultec system are, and they had very rapid infiltration rates. It's a loamy sand to sand. And that soil analysis is in the drainage report that was supplied to Drainage Engineering and is being peer reviewed. But we did have very good soils in that location.
Okay. And have you provided a construction sequence plan? How will these infiltration basins be brought into use and not be impacted by the construction of the site?
Absolutely. So that's part and parcel in the drainage analysis report. It's also reflected in what we will be filing as far as a national EPA construction general permit, where all of those construction guidelines will be outlined. We can CC the commission, as we have in the past with other projects, so that you can take a peek at those detailed procedures.
So from a layman's standpoint, I mean, how will this be built? Will the grading at the back be completed first, or will the detention basin be completed first and act as erosion control during the process? How do you propose to move forward with that?
Sure. Yep. So what we'll do is we will, obviously, all the erosion control measures will be put in place. And prior to any tree removal or stump removal, we will have inspections done by the commission and ourselves and follow the construction process, at which time temporary swales and sort of collection areas will be designed, not within the area of the drainage system, but up gradient of it during the time that the I'll call it the gas easement area grading and retaining walls are being built. And it'll actually work from north to south, so we'll be doing all the work outside of the buffer zones to the north and bringing the grade down until we hit slab elevation and then shape up the area coming to the south towards Davis Street. We will then shape up the ponds and remove the temporary sediment ponds north of where the permanent basin will be.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, so the erosion control will be outside of the detention basins, and that will be constructed last, so it'll be basically in virgin material when it's completed.
Exactly.
Thank you. And the planting of that basin, you said it was going to be just grass?
Yes, and Patty gave some great references as to what seed mixes to put on the interior versus exterior, and we're going to be speccing those out. The interior ones that see water will have sort of the more, they call it, Patty had better terms than I do, moisture absorbent.
The hydrologic regime.
That's the one.
It's my recommendation, because it's so hard to tell with a basin whether it's going to actually be wet or not. But I know that you guys know that almost always before you've even finished the job, whether it's going to be wet or not. So that would really determine the seed mix that you got, whether it was for a very wet wetlands or for just a slightly moist area.
Yeah, this will be seeing water on a regular basis during and after storms, and then shortly thereafter it'll be drying out. So it'll be
it's tough.
Temporary, and then then it'll subside. But the exterior, I think Patty mentioned, just the New England straight seed mix for slopes is what we're going to spec on the exterior of the basin.
Yeah, and the interior one, it seems that they have included a mix of seeds, some that are, demand wet, and some that are much more facultative.
Yeah, maybe we'll go for the latter then, because it won't be permanently wet.
Yeah. No, they're both in the same mix, I think.
Oh, okay.
Knowing that they are at extremes in the basins.
Okay.
And one more question, what's the high groundwater level in relation to the bottom of that infiltration basin?
Or that is shown here. Just over 2 feet to the groundwater elevation. In test pit 4, we had an elevation of 471.4. We're setting the bottom of the basin at 473.5. So, which is why we added in a hydraulic mounting calculation, not only for the open air basin, but also for the Cultec chamber system, which is being peer reviewed by Graves Engineering for all stormwater.
Thank you.
Board have anything else? Any questions from the floor? Is there anything from Zoom? Okay, thank you. Just
Should we get continued to the next hearing?
Yeah, we're going to get a motion here to continue this.
Are you okay with a continuance?
I think it's just, we just want to make sure we hear back from Graves' final letter and the earthwork special permit, unless the commission or seems otherwise.
like to?
No, I want to hear back from the peer review people, so I'll make a motion that we continue the public hearing for Edward O'Leary, 140 Davis Street, map 192, lot 1, till our June 3rd meeting.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and seconded to continue the meeting to June 3rd for Ed O'Leary, 140 Davis Street. Roll call vote.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Thank you.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay. Next, we have a continuous public hearing, notice of intent for Dare Crossing Development LLC, Woodland Road, map 250, lot 6. DEP number is 143. Do we have a number on that, DEP?
Brandon can come back, right?
I think
Yes. Someone go fetch Brandon.
He's coming.
I thought this one was going to be continued.
No, that was a confusion, the way they wrote them up. Do we have a DEP number for this Woodland?
No, we do not, no. No. In fact, this is another one that I have to recuse myself from. But I don't know where, it's Allen Engineering, right? It's Allen Engineering, and
Right.
did they request a continuance?
If I could, Mark Allen with Allen Engineering, this project is not an Allen Engineering project. This is not our site.
Fair enough.
Is there anybody here for the Woodland Road project, Deer Crossing Development?
Just continue it, I guess.
Okay.
Last I recall, there was Margaret Bacon of Civil Site was representing an attorney from Holliston, but that's the last I recall.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Just continue it then?
Yeah,
Okay, we got to vote on that, right?
you do.
I'd like to get a motion to continue the hearing for Deer Crossing Development LLC, Woodland Road, map 250, lot 6.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to continue the Deer Crossing Development LLC, Woodland Road, map 250, lot 6. Roll call vote, please,
Do we need to say to when?
to June 3rd.
Till June 3rd, okay. Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Okay.
All right.
Okay, next we have a update on the Oak Street Solar Project, DEP number 143-0989.
I don't know why either. It's one of those situations you probably gotta restart it, and it's just a pain. There we go.
Okay, before we get started, Brendan, you want to give us an update with what's going on with the enforcement orders we had out there?
Sure. So last time we met, the Conservation Commission wanted all issues associated with the peer review, engineering peer reviews of Basin 1 and Basin 5 resolved, and the site to be stable. I can confirm that the site is stable, at least enough. There are erosion control blankets which are starting to grow up with seed, and all other areas on site have been hydroseeded, and the grass is starting to grow with that as well. So in my opinion, I think that in regards to site stability, we're there at least enough. It's going to continue to grow and only get better.
Okay.
And then we have the issues with the peer review on basins 1 and 5. There's been back and forth between Haley Ward, which is the town's peer reviewer, and Beals and Thomas, which is the site civil engineer for Blue Wave, and there's been agreement on both basins, and there's been a request for some minor field changes associated with them, which Mr. Benoit has the wording for, as we spoke about today, so I will hand it over to him if he's willing.
Sure. So, Mr. Chairman, I think procedurally what the commission is bound to do at this point is to vote to approve the minor modifications for Basin 5 and for Basin 1 with 2 separate motions. And if you want, I can go over some of those modifications for you.
Please.
Okay. So modification to Basin 5 was the proposed array layout was modified. The new swale was shown south of the gravel road leading to Basin 5. Site grading in Phase 3 was modified. Grading area around the heavy use animal area has been modified. Planting notes have been modified. And the agricultural well near infiltration Basin 5 was moved southeast to a new location. Those are the items identified in the peer review from Basin 5 by Haley Ward. Corey, can you confirm that those are the items that I believe that we pointed out?
Yeah. Did you mention the 2 additional culverts?
No, I did not. Go ahead.
So yeah, leading up to Basin 5, there were 2 culverts. Right. 16 and FE18, I believe. Yeah, so FE16 and FE18 were added as well.
Right. Apologize. Thank you. They're adding those. And talks with Corey previously, you determined that these are minor changes to the plan, and you agreed with that, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so if the board felt compelled to move on from Basin 5, I believe a motion would be in order to accept those changes as minor amendments to the order conditions.
I'll make that motion as presented by Mr. Benoit.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded regarding the changes to Basin 5. Roll call vote, please.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch, abstain.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Okay.
Okay. So as for Basin 1, the planning board at their previous meeting made a motion to declare the amendments to Basin 1 as submitted or minor modifications to approved plans, including but not limited to the addition of formalized basins number 1 and 2, and the removal of the roadway swale and pipe. There was also, Mr. Murphy, you identified there was also an additional pipe that was put on the plan as well, right?
Yes, so formalized sediment basin 2 already has an outlet pipe, so we're proposing to add a spillway, so that it has both a pipe and a spillway, and then formalized sediment basin 1 currently has a spillway, but we're also adding a pipe, so it has both a spillway and a pipe for each of those.
Thank you. And Mr. Broder, sorry, through the chair, you identified these items through the planning board as minor amendments to the approved site plan, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So if the board felt compelled, we looked for a motion to declare the amendments to basin number 1 as discussed, or minor modifications to the approved plans, including but not limited to the addition of formalized basins 1 and 2, removal of the roadway swale and the pipe, and the pipes that Mr. Murphy just mentioned, and the spillway.
Do we have a plan that shows these pipe spillway changes, and so we can judge whether they have any impact on wetlands or wetland buffers at all?
Yep. That should be in our... That should be in your packets for the May 7th response letter from Beals and Thomas. There's a plan on page, it's like the fifth page of the packet that shows these plan amendments. That's the sheet C501.
Yep.
Yeah, and I have that, and it's, an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So I can't read it very well.
We've brought a
Without a
larger...
magnifying glass.
We brought a larger one.
Jeff, would you mind pulling it up on screen, please?
Yes.
They wanted 2 outlets in each one, so they added a small pipe there. There was already 1 outlet there, they cheaped 10 to see if there's a difference.
Okay.
Pat J. Bates.
Are we sharing? There we go.
So, the orange dashed lines here are the buffer zones. So this, the area where the changes are is outside the buffer zone. And on the other side of the A series, we have the orange buffer zone over here. The other item that, I guess, Matt, I don't know if you had mentioned it, was the wick drain addition as well. Was a minor addition to Basin 1. And then we also added some more riprap armoring down gradient of the spillway and a swale to carry water away from that area. So the areas where we added the unformalized sediment Basin 1, the pipe we're proposing to add kind of closer to the basin berm, so that would be kind of directed in the area of the grass field to the north of the basin. The spillway is currently constructed on formalized sediment Basin 1, and then on formalized sediment Basin 2, the spillway is proposed just off the side in the same general area as the pipe, which is kind of at the corner of the berm currently, the existing pipe that's there.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
I just want to ask, is Pat Mahan in the audience, could he talk about what work has been done to date with regards to Basin 1?
Yep, sorry. Yeah, so right now we've done the repair work to the clay core that was kind of called out in some of Haley Ward reports. It looks like that's working now. We've installed the pipe through the berm, reinstalled it, the wick drain through the berm, and installed the wick drain. And today they finished kind of redoing that outlet, riprap, and swale to kind of direct the water so it all goes into the swale and infiltration trench. So that work's been completed as of today. They still have a little bit more work on the gravel floor. They basically installed the bottom up, but they need to keep going up east and complete it out that way.
Right. I confirm, I saw that I went there around 4 o'clock today, and I can confirm that those things have been done as well. It looks like you also extended the riprapping on the toe of the slope of Basin 1?
Yes, yeah, that was kind of where I was saying the swale, they add a little swale in there to kind of convey the water better.
Right.
Away from that wet, kind of where it was getting wet in the bottom there.
Yeah, one thing that I'd like to add is that they redid the impervious clay core to Basin 1, and I took a sample, and I let it dry, and it is solid as a rock. And I was going to bring it in tonight for everybody to see, but I made the mistake allowing my teenage sons to use the truck to bring this stuff home from their dorm room, and it disappeared. Yeah. I was actually pretty surprised by how solidly that sample dried up. And that was from the site? Okay.
So, again, where do we stand? Basin 5's done, Basin 1 done?
Basin 1 done with assent between the two engineers that issues have been addressed and that the changes that are being requested are, in their minds, minor. Okay. So, planning board agreed
last week, the changes were minor, so the same motions being placed here tonight for the Conservation Commission's consideration.
Need a motion? So they changed the basin 1, minor change?
We have a audience participant asking a question before that.
Yes, Lisa.
Yes, please. Lisa Mozinski, 60 Oak Street. So what is Basin 1?
That's the one closest to Oak Street by the entrance.
What is it?
As in, is it an infiltration basin? Is it a detention basin, or?
Yeah, what's the label on Basin 1?
What's the label on Basin 1, Pat?
Infiltration Basin 1.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, but it looks like Basin 2 is closer to Oak Street.
No.
On my map right
Not
here.
quite.
Is that correct?
That's like,
That's Basin 2.
there's a sediment Basin 2, sorry.
So has any work been done on Basin 2? That's
yeah.
That's the closest thing to the road.
Yeah.
Not quite.
So maybe that's
I think sediment Basin 2 tests the sediment.
So when we, may I? So this is Basin 1, and this is actually Basin 2, but when we were going through construction, we had to have additional ponds for water, the volume, and a part of that is this one and this one, and a part of what we had requested was to make them permanent, and that's part of the minor change. In addition to
But this,
wick drain.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so this was Basin 1, and then we added these two for additional volume, and we've added this in here, and then this wick drain, this additional riprap, and this overflow. And we had a small leak that was coming right about here. And what they've done is they stripped this out, and the impervious core was rebuilt and cut in, and then packed again. And that's what Brandon was talking about, the clay sample being super hard. So all this work here that was proposed as a part of a response to Design Point that was reviewed by Haley Ward has been completed to date. The only part that has not is there's a little bit of gravel right up here that still needs to be done on the bottom of the floor. Otherwise, the rest is complete.
So no more water's going onto the roadway?
No, it hasn't for a while.
Less.
Well,
Less water?
I mean, we just redid the clay core last week.
Last Wednesday, you were
Yeah,
working on it
Wednesday.
while we were doing our inspection.
Yeah,
That's
It was finishing up when we were there.
yeah. So I
Mr. Chairman.
wouldn't say it's been tested. Sorry.
Yes, Lisa.
Just a follow-up. So what are the added basins? What's the label on the added basins?
Sediment basins.
So is that the, at the infiltration basin 1,
Could have pretty good eyesight to be seeing those.
we add
Look
this
at the
one
little
here?
one here. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is infiltration basin 1,
Right.
sediment basin 1 and
tell
2.
you.
Yeah. So you added these?
Yep, so those have been there for quite some time. We're just making it permanent at this
This is
point.
something that I could,
And then adding the spillways and
Yeah, I don't.
the spillways are
yeah.
in, the
Yeah,
pipes.
100%. yeah.
Spillways are not in.
All right, so that basin we've seen all along, that's,
Yeah, we're just improving it and essentially making it permanent.
Yeah, and our peer review engineer is giving his assent to doing that.
so it's the ones that are, you've been seeing all along, they're making those permanent basins, and they're adding to basin 1, and the peer review for the town has confirmed, right?
Yeah, the town's expert engineer has confirmed that the design works and gives his assent to making them permanent.
Did that answer your question, Lisa?
Tell me if I'm out of line, Corey.
There's sediment basins that were not called for in the original plan, correct?
Correct.
Right, and that's why they're asking for a minor change, right?
Correct.
But there are 2 additional basins, and that's a minor change?
That's for the commission to decide, I agree. That's what they need to vote on. The other option is, well, there's two other options. An amendment to the order of conditions, and the extreme side of that would be, it's so different than originally proposed, they need to file a notice of intent. Those are the options: minor field change, amendment, or new notice of intent for your consideration.
What's the board think?
These two basins are well outside the 100-foot buffer, correct?
Correct. Correct.
I am in favor of going along with our peer review experts and approving these as a minor modification.
I'll second that.
We have a motion that's been made and seconded to note the changes to Basin 1 as minor changes. Can we have a roll call vote?
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch abstain.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Okay, where are we on the rest of this project? We get those two done?
Okay, so we got Basin 1 and Basin 5 done now? So from here, I think that Blue Wave is about to ask, can they get the official go-ahead to move on to Phase 4, which is construction of Basins 3 and 4, and start building the components of the solar array?
Okay.
So, Basin, pardon me, Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yep.
So Phase 4 is the construction of the remaining basins, and then Phase 5 is the construction of the array. So I think they're looking to move on to Phase 4 at this time, not both.
Okay. Do we have anything from the town engineers that are, they okay with it?
That would be Mr. Broder. I mean, that, we had to get through this issue with Basins 1 and 5, which we just did. And at this point, I don't know what else would be prohibiting them from going on to Phase 4.
How's the water runoff situation been?
The only frustration that we continue to see from time to time is the drainage ditch along Oak Street gets cloudy. The one that heads south towards the what's his name?
Help.
Not, yeah, towards the Rossies, but ends up going into the Pottle property. We had a rainstorm, we had a very intense rainstorm last week. Can you bring that picture up? I mean, it's just,
I've seen
yeah,
it.
can you stop, Sharon? I think it's Jeff, thank you. And the question is, where did this, where was the water coming from this time? And it seemed to be like it was coming from the site entrance. So that's something I'd like to.
Is
there
this
we
the
go.
same ditch that we said the town did some work on?
Yes.
So does anybody know if it's from that work that it's getting kicked up, or?
My personal opinion, Mr. Chairman, is that is not churned up water from inside the ditch. I think it's come from outside the ditch. At this point, I don't think it's neither here nor there, except that they need to continue to stabilize the site. Right?
Mr. Chairman, I would
Keep it
almost
stable.
say that because they were disturbing Basin 1 at the time of this rain event, that is likely possibly where the silt came from, but as that becomes more stable, I anticipate that would slow.
And plus, they washed out the stones at the basin entrance, which we asked them to do, and they took care of that recently as well.
So you're looking for,
If you'd like, I can read what the planning board made for a motion.
sure.
The planning board recommended authorization from the Conservation Commission to permit the 45 Oak Street solar project to move forward to phase 4. Provided peer review consultant from Haley Ward verifies that ongoing construction modifications of Basin 1 are installed according to revised plans, which are including but not limited to returning Basin 1 to finished grade, loaming and seeding Basin 1 slopes to the satisfaction of the Douglas Conservation Commission.
Okay. Anything from the board? Any other questions from the floor? Yes, sure.
Brzezinski, 60 Oak Street. I just have one thing to point out. Heavy rain, it was a heavy rain. It didn't last all day, but it was heavy. And again, and this has been mentioned in one of the other meetings, either here or in Sutton, again, the entranceway, for whatever reason, there's water at the entranceway and even out into the road. Every storm. Where is it coming from and how do you prevent it?
I guess may I, Chair?
Sure.
I don't, pardon me?
Your name and address?
Sorry, Jason Smith, Blue Wave Energy, 116 Huntington Avenue. For some reason, my personal address always comes up, sorry, you get caught. I don't, we'd like to refute that it's every time. There has been some times, and we did note the last time that it occurred, it was at the construction entrance, for which we were requested to be able to refresh that, for which we did. And we continue to do so to be able to minimize any kind of impact on things.
I'd just like to make mention, I'm not the only one that complains about this. Seems like throughout the meetings.
Right.
In fact, somebody thought or mentioned there was supposed to be some new paddings up in the roadway and thought that would help. And whether they're down or not, I don't know and can't tell. But I'm just bringing up that it has been mentioned several times. And where is it coming from? And is it going to continue? Because if it continues during the winter, we're in trouble.
Winter.
Something for them to see if they can correct, that's all.
Well, at this point here, I think the conservation is pretty much at a point where the things we've asked for have been taken care of with the exception of that entrance. So I would entertain a motion that we allow them to continue with the fourth phase, but the entrance has to be taken a look at and corrected in the meantime.
Mr. Chairman, do you want me to provide that motion again?
Yeah, there's no other questions on that? Well, from Zoom? Main floor? Yeah, if you could, Matt.
Sure. It's to recommend authorization from the Conservation Commission to permit the 45 Oak Street solar project to move forward to phase 4, provided all amendments, provided that the peer review consultant from Haley Ward verifies that ongoing construction modifications of Basin 1 are installed according to the revised plans, which are including but not limited to returning Basin 1 to finished grade, loaming and seeding in Basin 1, and continued maintenance of the construction entrance to prevent silt from exiting the site.
Move a motion?
Yeah, so moved.
Second. Okay, motion's been made in second.
I apologize to amend the motion I believe they're doing a review of the seeping of Basin 5, and they're providing us an update on that as well.
Okay.
We're good. We're good, Mr. Chairman. We're good.
Okay, so motion's been made and seconded to allow you to go to phase 4. Roll call vote.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch, I wasn't here at the beginning of this, this construction, so I still have to abstain.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Okay, anything else?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
How's the grass
Blue
committee?
Wave has an additional question about siting of utility poles on site. This is actually part of Phase 5. However, with the timeliness of National Grid and their permitting, this might be important for them to get ahead of. So I think Jason Smith has a question for you about that.
The easiest way to make the request is from the road, we can see, from the road, we can see there are 3 or 4 poles that National Grid has already installed, but they are not doing any more work until we put our poles in. Our poles would be just upstream, up road from that, and then they would go all the way up to where the pad is. We're asking to put all of our overhead poles in and the cables down to be able to kick off the work the utility has to do to get that there. It's a long period of time to get their schedule moving forward.
I have no problem
And
with
I
that.
don't believe any of this work is within Phase 4 at all. It's along Phase 1.
Correct.
Which is the entrance and the basin and the roadway to get you to the pad.
Correct.
Okay. We need to vote on that, Matt? Mono.
Mr. Chairman, I personally do not have any issue with this request.
I think you should vote on it because you're allowing them to go into Phase 5, so it's like a, partial
Okay,
assent.
so I'll entertain a motion to allow them to put the poles in as, up to the top of the pad.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded to allow you to put the poles in up to the pad, up to the top of the hill. Roll call vote.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch, abstain.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, we still gotta do minutes.
I've got the minutes.
There was no mail. And,
Mr. Chairman, I move that we take a vote to close the meeting.
I was just gonna say that. I'll
Don't have
entertain-
minutes to go.
I'll entertain that motion.
Well, it would be a motion
you know
to
what,
adjourn, but are you going to?
See that, yeah.
Are you going to do minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, we're
I know
gonna
where
just
it
do a
is.
vote on the minutes.
Yep.
So we could do that while it's still open?
Yeah, I'll give you a call. You guys there every day, or?
I'm not, our contractor, give me a call, make sure I can come out.
Another thing that I see here, too, is orders to be signed, order of conditions for 45 Martin Road, Lot 1. Did that not get signed last time?
I don't know, they're right here. I think these are them.
Okay, so then I would sign that before you pass that around before you leave for the night. So we have the meeting minutes of December 18.
Are we going to vote on continuation of the meeting?
I didn't second.
I'll put a motion to end today's meeting. It's over 3 hours.
Right. It never gets seconded, so,
Someone has to second it, yeah.
well, we want to take care of the signing that's here
Okay,
and the minutes.
okay.
Chairman,
Yes.
another item that came in earlier today, reason not reasonably anticipated within 48 hours notice, is we received a request from Katie Grace Dudley for her tendered resignation from the commission. I believe the select board would have to accept that, but I just wanted to bring that up at this meeting. The commission wanted to thank her for her service.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because Katie brought a lot to the commission, and I wish her well with her young family. I understand that takes a lot of time, but she'll be missed.
Yes, she will.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody get a chance to read the minutes for
December 18, 2023.
I didn't see any problem with them. I looked at them online, I didn't see an issue.
I made one correction. Mark's name was written down as a Mark McGovern, not Mark Mungem.
You sure?
Yeah. I think it might have already gotten corrected, though, because I pointed that out last week.
Okay.
You did.
Because I saw a Mark McGovern in here, and it wasn't for me, so I thought that was correct.
You thought, really?
No, on item number 1, updates on the first page, it says, Mr. Fanu says he was alerted to an issue on the site by Mark McGovern, Sutton's Conservation Commission Vice Chair.
Oh, that would be Mike McGovern.
Oh, there's a correction then.
Yeah, I think
Mike
there was a
Mc-
conflation between Mark Mungem and Mike McGovern. Yeah, that's the only correction.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from December 18th with the corrections noted.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minute meetings from
December 18th.
December 18th.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
And now, you want to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to end tonight's meeting.
Adjourn. To adjourn tonight's meeting.
To adjourn tonight's
You
meeting.
have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Jim Foran, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye. Thank you.
What happened at